Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is TVP World. You're watching World News. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and these are the latest headlines. The death toll in the Los Angeles area has risen to 16 as wildfires continue to spread. Efforts to contain the fires are being hindered by intense winds, with losses estimated to exceed $100 billion. 11 deaths have been confirmed in the Eaton fire near Altadena, while another 5 fatalities have been reported in a Palisades fire. Search teams aided by specialized dogs are combing through the rubbles. Over 150,000 residents have been ordered to evacuate their homes. Authorities have arrested 22 individuals in connection with looting and curfew violations as the investigation unfolds. Despite firefighters' relentless efforts, the fire remained out of control. Strong winds have swept through the burning neighborhoods, subsiding only briefly before intensifying again. Approximately 12,000 buildings, including the Getty Center Museum, have been destroyed. Total damages are estimated at around $100 billion. Fires across Los Angeles have devastated entire neighborhoods and forced tens of thousands to flee. The National Guard has deployed to the area, assisting with community protection, security enforcement, and traffic management as evacuations continue.
We have 1,680 soldiers and airmen currently employed in this emergency. Over 1,000 are currently manning traffic control points 24/7 every day in support of allied agencies across the LA Basin, CHP, LA City, LA County. And we are making good on their requests, not in hours, not in days, but in minutes. We are pre-positioned the right place, the right time to deliver right effects in support of our law enforcement partners, and we continue to do that. We continue to ensure that our posture works very, very well. In case we have to grow, we are in very, very good position to make sure that happens. The balance of our force primarily dedicated to the next two things. Number one, Type 2 hand crews supporting CAL FIRE. Over 500 soldiers and airmen are currently employed in that endeavor or being deployed into that endeavor.
Polling stations are now open across Croatia as voters cast their ballots in the second round of presidential elections. Incumbent Zoranmilanovic, who narrowly missed securing a majority with 49% of the vote in the first round, faces Dragan Primorac, who finished second with 19%. Social Democrat Zoranmilanovic has been a vocal critic of Western military support for Ukraine and has often clashed with the ruling party over foreign and public policy during his 5-year term. Dragan Primorac, who began his political career in the early 2000s as science and education minister in a Croatian Democratic Union-led government, has accused Milanovic of being pro-Russian, an allegation that Milanovic denies. Milanovic remains one of Croatia's most popular politicians and is widely expected to win the election. According to Croatia's electoral system, a candidate must secure at least 50% of the vote to avoid a runoff. Around 2,000 demonstrators gathered in Tel Aviv on Saturday to protest Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government and its handling of the Gaza conflict. The protest turned violent when demonstrators set a fire at the Begin Gate. Protesters demanded the return of hostages and an end to the war in Gaza. Negotiations are ongoing to secure a deal that would halt the firefighting and free the remaining Israeli hostages before Trump assumes office on January 20th. The Palestinian Health Ministry reports that at least 46,537 people have been killed and 109,571 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza since October 7. 2 people have been killed and 12 others injured in overnight Russian airstrikes across Ukraine. According to Ukraine's air defense, 74 Shahed-type attack drones and dummy drones were deployed in assault. In the Zaporizhia region, 1 person was killed and 6 others were injured. In Pokrovsk, a civilian lost their life during the strike. In the village of Primorske, a drone hit a car, killing a woman and injuring 2 men. Ukraine's air defense reports that 47 drones were shot down across 11 regions, while 27 dummy drones were lost in Ukrainian airspace. Ukraine has captured 2 North Korean troops fighting for Russia in the Kursk region, marking the first confirmed incident of such capture. The 2 soldiers, both wounded, are receiving medical care in Kyiv. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the capture via his X platform account, stating, quote, "It was not an easy task, as Russians and other military personnel usually execute their wounded to erase evidence of North Korea's involvement in the war against Ukraine." He added, quote, "I have instructed the security service to grant journalists access to these prisoners. The world needs to know the truth about what is happening." Russia is escalating its cognitive warfare efforts in Poland, with further intensification anticipated in the coming weeks. Now, this conclusion comes from the inaugural report by a government committee examining Russian and Belarusian influence in the country. The report outlines in detail how the Kremlin seeks to destabilize Poland and the European Union.
According to the extensive report found on the Polish government's website, Russia and Belarus now have their eyes set on Poland as the country prepares for the presidential election in May. The committee investigating Russian and Belarusian influence in Poland said on Friday that the threat of Russian disinformation is very real.
We must take into account that in the last days and even in the last hours before the election, dramatic fake news will appear on the internet. Their aim will be to influence the voting process.
The committee, led by the head of the Polish military counterintelligence, pointed to 4 main false narratives spread by Moscow and Minsk in the Polish media space. These are as follows: NATO and the EU are oppressive, hostile and colonize their members. Western civilization is collapsing, decadent and demoralized. In the war in Ukraine, Russia is winning and must win. While Ukraine is a bankrupt state and Ukrainians are not a nation, no one can beat Russia, a nuclear power. And promoting any conspiracy theories that undermine the public trust, like anti-vaccination narratives, 5G, etc. According to the committee, the Kremlin knows it won't be able to easily promote its propaganda in Poland. That is why it will rather focus on spreading partially manipulated messages, trying to undermine the West's credibility and sow information chaos where possible. TVP World is tackling Russian disinformation with its Break the Fake program, pointing out examples of false narratives spread by Russian trolls. You can watch it Monday to Friday at 7:15 p.m. Central European Time.
2 people have died and 11 others were injured in a tragic bus accident just outside Poland's borders. The bus was traveling from Berlin to Szczecin in northwestern Poland. German police, the first responders on the scene, reported that the bus driver was likely a Polish woman. Preliminary findings suggest the driver was speeding in heavy snowfall before losing control, hitting a guardrail and overturning the vehicle onto its side. Emergency crews had to rescue passengers through the front windshield. The victims of the accident include a 29-year-old woman from Eastern Europe and 48-year-old German men. 4 people sustained serious injuries and were rushed to the hospital. The Zakopianka, a well-traveled route in southern Poland connecting Krakow with the Tetra Mountains, has turned into a picturesque winter wonderland. We have some stunning drone footage, so let's take a closer look. Heavy snowfall in the south, particularly near the Tetra Mountains, has triggered an increase in avalanche warnings. Local rescue services are cautioning against hiking due to unfavorable conditions. Over 700 meters of snow now blanket Poland's tallest and most popular mountain peaks. Road conditions are also challenging as fresh snowfall continues to impair visibility. And with that, we conclude this edition of World News. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.